Hi, in this session we're going to write the code related to the player attack, and it has the combo attack and shows different types of animation. It inflicts damage to the enemy, but I haven't yet added the animation to the enemy. And also I add a function that's when the player gets close to the enemy, it automatically returns toward them, so the melee attack would be easier. And it's just detects the closest enemy and something like that, and when he goes away, it doesn't rotate towards them. Okay, let's go and first fix the animation for the combo attack. Going to animation, animator. Let's see how many attack do we have. Okay, so I have put them in the order that I want, so I can easily give them the trigger. For example, I have 5 animation for the combo attack. Then I say, for example, attack 1, a trigger attack 2, and 5. Now, from any state, I give these triggers. For example, attack 1, um, okay, and then from that it goes to idle, it has exit time, and I give it 9 and 1. And then again up to this one, for example. Okay, let me do that and then I'll return to you. Okay, this is attack 5, this is 4, and it has exit time, all of them. And this is for casting a spell, which I don't have things to do with that right now. Let's go and write the code for that. Player. And I call this, for example, player attack. So what we need here, we need to get the animator, and also we need to give it a cooldown so it wouldn't spam attacking, and we would add a soundtrack. And also when I want, for example, when he is attacking and he's moving at the same time, I want to decrease his speed while he is attacking. So first I say private animator anim. And as you remember, the animator was in the children, so get component in children, animator. And we will have soundtrack 40 for each of the sword attack. We want to give it different sound, so it wouldn't be boring. Or for example, for the kick sound, it has to have a different sound. So I say private audio source audio, and also different audio clip, serialized field, private audio clip, um, melee 1, melee sound 1, control D, okay, 2, and for kick sound we have this, and for the audio we say audio, yes, get component audio source, and you want to give it a cooldown, so I say private float timer is equal to nothings, and then private float melee cooldown is equal to, for example, every 1 second. At first we give it 1F, and here it just increases timer equal to time, that's also time. And now we go to we need to go here and add the attack action. So I say melee. Yes, it is a type button, and interaction is only press only, yes. And the binding, for example, the left bottom of the mouse, the left click, And on the keyboard, yes, it is for that. And you can add, for example, for the Xbox, it would be, for example, southeast of the joystick. You can add that. But here it is for now. It's good. And we go to the code and say here, private void on melee. And say if timer is more to equal to melee cooldown, then is allowed to um, do the melee attack. And I write the function here. And also here the timer would be again 0 until it again gets to increases. And if this was more than cooldown, then it is allowed to perform the attack. Okay, for that function, say private void this, and now we go to and give the animations. How many animations did we have? We had 5. Here, we want to say, okay, um, the attack, something that counts the attack. That at first it is 0. And we also need the total number of the animations. Attack, oh, the first case. Or we can use that, but okay, attack, animations. Total, I think it was 5 animation, yes. And now here, we want to calculate. We want that each of the attacks will be performed in a sequel. For example, this and this and this and this and this. And again, it will be this and this and this and this and this. And we have a formula here that says attack count this and animation, yes, plus 1. So it would be the, for example, in which one we are. We use this format. Now we use this switch. And okay, it depends on that number, that value. And we say case 1. If this is, it becomes 1, it means that the first animation. Then you want to say anim that sets trigger, the first trigger, which was the attack one that was related to this one. So shows the this animation. And I say attack 1. And I say audio clip. Audio, that's clip, is, okay, I give the first sound. And I say audio, that's play. Then this is the break. Okay, if this is, that's 1, then break and do not continue that. We add it here. We always need to have the default on break, okay? Again, we say case 2. Okay, and this one, add this sound. And we continue for the 5 cases. Tag 5. And the kick sound for that is good. Something like that. And now we need to go here and the elf holder, give this player attack, and add the audio source, and remove the play on awake, and give these sounds, which I'm going to import right now. If you know which source to look at, for example, you can go and search on Google Sort sound effect, yes, sort sound effect MP3. And always check that the license is free. For example, Pixabay is a good site for that. Okay, I have imported some sounds effect from my other projects to here. And now let's go here and, for example, this this is good, and the kick sound. And I want to add another one for 3. So when he hits the ground with his sword, I want that it would give another sound effect. And yes, this one. And here I gave this sound. Now I want that, for example, as soon as the game will start, I'll be able to attack. Not that I click and then, you know, for example, if I want that this would be performed, I have to wait 1 second until the game has started, which is not good. So here I say timer is equal to cooldown timer. So it has a ready attack, and then after he performs 1, then it would be 0, and then wait 1 second. By the way, I think that 1 second is too much, but here, let's go and try it. I make it. Oh, I didn't make a serialized field. You see that those sound effects for the last one, and also for the kick, and this one should has a little bit of delay. For this one, for 4 and 5, I have to make the sound to have a little bit of delay. So here I add the private enumerator, and I say play sound with detail. Delay, sorry. And yeah, for that, for functions, let's make it bold. Okay. Here, as I don't want to write this thing for 2 times, so I wouldn't specify which sound clip. I allow them that, okay, here just give them audio clip and float delay, and then I specify which clip, so that's better. And then I say, okay, yield return, and you wait for second delay, and then I say audio that's clip is clip, and then audio that's play. And here, instead of this, yeah, and then I say start quarantine. Yes, this one. Okay, it was the kick sound, and with the delay of this F. Which one? It was the melee sound 3 with a delay of, I think 4 is good. We will test that and find out which one is better. Oh, I should make the last one. Yes, that's better. And if you want to have a more smoother transition from when it attacks to idle, you can increase the transition duration from the attacking to idle. But that this is the action game, so I think that this is good. Otherwise, you have to increase the cooldown, you have to increase this, which you can do that for realistic movement, but I want that it would be very fast action game, so I think that that is good. Now, if the player is attacking, it does something like this, which is not realistic at all. So we have to somehow Go here in the player movement and change the normal speed. You can make it to completely stop or to decrease the speed while he is attacking. So here, okay, on the melee, okay, let me first get the code here. So I say private player movement, player movement. You can make it a single tone and you can access that faster, but let's do that. Get component because they are on the same game object, so I can directly say that. And I should make them public so other code can have access to them. Public. And now here, as he's doing that, I want that, okay, those values, the speed, which one was that? Yes, normal speed would be, for example, 1F, and as it is multiplier, so I think yes, 1 and 2, yeah, it's good. We don't need that. So I can make it that. Okay, it done the attack, and then I want that to return to normal speed, so I need another animator. Let me say that. Okay, private, and change that to as a return to normal speed. And the delay would be the cooldown timer. Delay cooldown. And I say that, okay, I cannot say that, for example, player movement that's normal speed is equal to, okay, its previous speed because it has been changed. So here I need to have another, now this value and I call it 2 just to store this value before it is changed. And here I say, okay, this is equal to, actually 2 is equal to this. So I store the speed as another thing. So if it is directly changing the code, I somehow have the value here. For example, it becomes 1 in this code because I told it, okay, you have to equal to 1. So I have to store that value, this 4, inside here so I can access that later. For example, if it becomes 1, it again becomes 4. So here I say, okay, you become to normal speed 2. And then here, say start quarantine. What was his name? Yes, return to normal speed. And yeah, I'm running. Okay, when it ends, I can normally run. Or here, and then after it's finished, I can normally run like before. Now we go to the main part that is inflicting the real damage to the enemy. So here we use the collider, a sphere collider, and we give it a radius that, okay, if enemies are in that radius, and if the attack animation is performed, any enemy that are in that radius would inflict damage. So we need to give it a damage point. For example, say from here, make a sphere and give it a radius for how big the sphere should be, which is a dead zone for the enemies. And yes, we give these two variables. Let's go here and say serialized field private game. You can say, okay, transform, because we just need the placement. transform, let's say, melee points. And we also need the attack range, which is floats, say melee range. How big the sphere should be, which is a radius actually. And we need another code for, as I want that's, you can give it a delay if you want. Yes, I think that's when the first animation starts. For example, if you, let me go here and show you. Here. If I say, okay, directly say the function to inflict damage, when the player is here in this animation, the damage is done, which we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that he hits the ground, which has 0.3 seconds have been passed from this animation, and then it inflicts its damage. So we need delay. So say private I enumerator, and I say uh, melee damage. As different animation has different thing for that, then I say float delay because they have different delay time for each animation. And I say, okay, we want to find the enemies, and I say physics, overlap, sphere, and I give it the position and the radius. The position was the melee point. Melee, what? It was melee point, I think. What was the name? Yes, it was a melee point, and we have melee range, which was a transform, and also the radius, which was the melee range. And for example, if I have a friend of mine, an NPC that is friend, they also take damage. So I want to say, okay, inflict damage only to those that are enemy. So I give them a layer, mask private, layer mask, enemy layer, only to those that has the enemy layer. Okay, find them, and then with the for each loop, double tap, and I say collider scene enemies. Okay, that's fine. Then I say, okay, what is it? See, this is, let me change that. And I say enemy that gets component. I should give it a code for example, for their enemy health, which I quickly do that. Okay, now scrape in the folder enemy health, and here I just say, okay, public int. It is temporarily. We don't use that. We'll complete that in the future. I just want to show you how player works. Player void take damage, and I say public int damage, and here I say int damage. Um, we can say equal to that, but I don't need that. And I just say max health minus equal to damage. I should debug that log the max health or the health. Actually, this doesn't. Okay, so this is wrong. It should be health, not max health. But And then in player attack code in this one, let's say, okay, for each of them that are inside that collider, there's enemy that get components, enemy health, that take damage, for example, 20. That's we need to go here and okay, and I say yield, return you wait second. You wait for a second and then um, this is for sound. Now we need something to inflict the damage and I say start quarantine. And I say okay, melee damage. For this it was point F. For this one, for example, mm, this. Okay, one is good. And also, okay, let's go here and make temporarily an enemy. For example, let's go to script and this one, the org, where did it go? Yes, here. And it needs a collider. And I give it a capsule collider for now. Okay, let's go and test it. Oh, I forgot to give it make it the enemy layer. So add layer, enemy, and make the enemy. Yes, and also to the in here, enemy layer is this, and we go to. Let me add it. That's one to the sword. Okay, yes, and make a child. And I say this melee point. And here I give that point here. And I make it, for example, if I want to see that, I have to use the gizmos. So just something that I want to see. Private void undraw gizmo selected. Gizmos that's I can give it a color. And I can make color, for example, dot red. Gizmos that's draw wire sphere. Wire. Okay, from which point? And I say melee point, that position, retreat radius with the melee range. The range. It's something that for me doesn't do anything in the game. So I see this circle, another the red one, which is very big. So I go here and no, not that one. The range, I decrease that. So it's only here for the sword. So as you see, it inflicts damage, 60, 40. And the bad thing is that, okay, it's very hard to control a player and bring it, okay, to look towards the enemy. I want that it automatically looks toward the enemy when he gets too close to something that is enemy. So let's go here. I can say from which distance you want that your player look at that. And I say float detecting enemy distance. At first I make it 5f. So I can change it in an inspector and then I write a function that is called private void face towards towards closest enemy. So like this, I need to get the um, collider, but from the transformed position, the place of the player is detecting enemy distance. And I say, okay, if collider, um, no, the enemy's dot length is more than 0, it means that there is an enemy, then do the face towards it. Otherwise, don't do that. Say, okay, collider, enemy. At first, okay, this is null. And also, this is nearest um, enemy. It means the enemy distance. Okay, at first say the detecting. So everything at first I give this value and I say, okay, if there's another enemy that is less than this value, for example, 3 meter away my enemy from my player, then my player look towards that enemy that is 3 meter away from me. But if there is the enemy that is 2 meter away from me, then the priority is to the enemy that is 2 meter away from me rather than the enemies that are 3 meter away. So I have a for each loop. This is the collider, enemy in enemies. Let me make it say closest enemy. So it wouldn't be similar to that. As a float distance equal to vector 3. That's distance between the transformed position, which is for the player, and also the enemy that transformed. Enemy that's transformed that position. And I say if distance is less than this distance, that I have found an enemy that is really closer to this value, then this is equal to this new distance. That's less and less, and players should give priority to look at that enemy at first. And also, the enemy would be the enemy that has found this distance, and I give it to this value. Now, if it has found something, and if the closest enemy is not null, because if it's null, then it does nothing, and that just face to something that my keyword has selected. But if there is the closest enemy, then we say vector 3, and I say direction to enemy would be equal to, I just calculate the distance from them between which one? The closest enemy that transformed the position, and minus transform the position from the player, and normalize. Player looks at this, which we're going to use quaternion for rotation. But to prevent the tilting of the enemy, of the player, we just set that to the y to 0. So the player wouldn't tilt to some weird direction. And here I say quaternion. Look rotation would be quaternion. That's look rotation. Okay, it has to look at this one. So I say direction to enemy, and I say transform with rotation to actually apply that to the player. Quaternion that is slurp between two values from A to B, which is from the player direction to the enemy direction. It goes to, for example, it might take 1 second to look that, and it will smoothly moves from point A to point B. From transform that rotation to lock rotation in time.delta time, because when you have transform, whether transform the position, transform the rotation, you always need to add a time.delta time, and I say in 10F. I'm sorry, I have to save in that time. And you can change it if you want, and then I need to put that in the update method. And to make it even more for the performance, you can, for example, check for one every second. So it wouldn't need to do in each frame it goes and do this calculation. But now we just put it here, and later in the session related to fixing the performance and increasing the FPS, we'll talk about that. But right now, it's you want to learn, and I don't want to make your mind towards making it even more complicated. I add two enemy. One is here, and is also enemy layer. Set the collider and okay, he goes here. He's the closest one. The player automatically looks toward him. He gets away. Oh, let's change it to 2 again. Okay, I'll just press W. Automatically returns to him, and when he gets away, just continue. Why this is good? Because when I go close to that, I'm toward the enemy, and I don't need to adjust my position. I just go, and he returns to that, and I can attack. This makes my melee attack much easier. I give the fixed number. Later that we add the inventory system, we want that each sword give their own number. I wish you the best moments. Practice well as always. See you soon. Bye bye.